Okay, we'll slowly get started with the recitation.
Bo jonde de jin je ban da jong bo yang da bo zong be san ye ri bo da ja do le wor je ba je de je ba je wo du ve ka lo ja la na me ba la da me na ge do ba san ge jong de ve je wo sha ya do ba na ja la yo do ja ze je Jumbo, Jumbe, de Shabo, Jumbo, Yanda, Jumbe, Sange, Ripo, Shazu, Dembo, de Warishabo, Jimbo, Jimbo, Kolu, Lana, Mempa, Adam, Mena, Jumbo, Sanje, Jumde, de Bejo, Shaya, Tuba, Yodu, Yadu, Lana meba, Adam, Menanye, Damba, Sange, Chumdende, Vege, Sange, Yodo, Yadu, de gani to je dan de sa je de la gum bo de murne man de je de no jo je zo de ze je bo je lo jo no da jo de zo zo yi shi ja zo se je lu mo da ta bo je de zo na la me gum bo je ni je la jo Nego demba me da we jong sendo jong je la jong je je no se bo zuma ji nya me ki je la jong Ombo tu je demba tam je ke be to ba Sana ye de ya zo je de je la ja da be de ja de wa ge we ge song Cedu dana jülürga, şiyu cüla, layan, daba dala ödüne, şinge daba yedene, gindü layan can, dipaciyan mecacı, gevam kuzun çünkü, rangi sene yonzu, sanki dembayin, Kamarali Mamedam, Yuma Seba Chukurda, Milan Loda, Tida, Dije Juna Didanda, Sanandi, Tamje Sebai, Kobo Done, Kingi Radide, Radha Nada, Shive Lapchupe, Sibe Sole, Joa, Jovare,
To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the worlds, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent, destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you, who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With a supreme sign, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of light, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of false, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Papa Pujo Suna Jan Zelon Dige Dage Doban Duje Na Jon Den Den Gyabu Kap Jagu Pumbo Relo Gelonji Gendu Chenpo Da Janju Sembe Gendu Chenpo Da Ta Jindo Jose De De Jon Den De Zamona Wa Si Jawe Chugi Nam Rangi Tinge Zenlan Yon Parashu Ya Ti Tse Janju Semba Semba Chenpo Baba Chere Se Wanju Je paro de jimba, sama cheba nila number tajin bumbo ngabonde dalaya rajiki tomba number tau dene sangegi sedan demba sharibu janju semba semba jam baba jereze wanju la dige jemeso Pigi bu kalala şeremgi parıldı çimba samo çeba çoba döba de jitara nambara dava çade pumbu mavu deda laya jiji tomba nambara yanda ba çesu tao su tomba ni su su zule tomba ni jemayin tomba ni le gan su jemayin dejen do soğa dan düji dan nambara şeba nam tomba bu şri bu deda tomba ni de sini meba ma jeba ma gaba chema meba chema da chewa meba kama meba o Jerigo de dawa na tomba ni la su me soa me dushi na me namra shepa me me na wa me na me chi me lu me yi me lu me ja me chi me ru me re ja me shwe me do me je ka me ba ne yi je ka me yi je namra shepe kange ba do ya me do ma ri pa se pa me ba ne kashi sepe ba do ya me do de jin do no me wa dang gun jung wa dang go wa da la me yi shi me to ba me ma do ba ya me do shari mu de na we na ja ju san ba na to ba me be chi ru shi ra ge ba ru do chen ba la ten ji ne de san la te ba me jin ta ba me de chi je lo le shin de ne nyang le de be tar chen de zum de nam ba shu be sang ge dam ji yang shi ra ge ba ru chen ba la te ne la na me ba yang da ba zo be jang ju do Ompara zopara san geso de da wena shera ge paru de chimbe nga riba chimbe nga lana mebe nga minya bada nyabe nga dunga tamje ratu shivara chimbe nga mizume na de ba shiba chate shera ge paru de chimbe nga meba taya ta gate para sanga de buddhiso Charibu chanju samba samba jembe deda shiragi paru du chimbo zamo la la parajao dene chomde de tengen zende de shende chanju samba samba jembe baba chile se wanchu la leso shechawa chene leso leso Yuji pu dede shinde jita churki temba shindu shiragi paru du chimbo zamo chebo nila namba tashi pumbo ngabo deda la yarangi ye tomba namba yanda par jesu tao zu tomba ni zu tomba ni ngazo yar chongso Yang marchong la lana mebe nga minyamba da nyambe nga mizu manje labdu sheba chebe nga mizu bena temba sheba chade sherang jim baru du jimbe nga meba da ya da kante kante para sangate buddhi swa shari bu janju semba jimbe deda sherang jim baru du jimba samola labar jau dene jomde de tengen zendele shende janju semba jimbo Baba Jere, Wanjula, Leso, Shejawa, Chene, Leso, Rigi, Wu, Dede, Shindo, Dede,
Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahatattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of Buddha, the Venerable Shatakutra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahatattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahatattva, replied to the Venerable Shatakutra, saying, O Shatakutra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, we should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shatakutra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formation, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes, up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these, all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these, all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, because there is no attainment, all the bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond, and because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering to be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. O Shariputra, this is how Bodhisattva Mahatattva should learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahatattva, saying, very good, O son of good family. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shatakutra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, and the gods and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So ends the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond. And now we resume our Sunday morning exposition of the Buddha Dharma, the exposition of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. The trainings of the heirs to the Buddha, concerned especially with the three noble practices of the beginning, the middle, and the end. In the beginning, the preparatory rites are 6 preparatory rites. We have completed 3 of them and arrived at the 4th, the visualization and supplication of the merit field.
Oh, yeah, that's subject she was social said there was anything. And it done around standard most on shingy to la ten and around that over you to care your tops shepherd some your rest. Top shepherd somewhere. They do some of that to take on board. She would take on board never member in a young and shingy to la rangis. Sing samboge, sing the sambo yube to la tene and rangi to la over you to give it. And it tapped the lavella. And sing shepherd gently, moderate sing shepherd in and more from all the and rangi sing the setup of the ten and rangi la dog by Jeva or the Chibu your response.
The fourth preparatory rite, petitioning the merit field, is a practice that employs the potency and the power of the field of merit to make rapid one's own development of spiritual realization. One relies upon this sublime and extraordinary source of power, the merit field, and when one doesn't have sufficient wisdom yet, one relies upon the merit field so that they may develop realization rapidly. And it is considered the sublime, supreme method for the development of realization. And thus, I introduce it to you now, and as you gain familiarity with it, you may too begin the process of visualizing it and supplicating or petitioning the merit field so that you may develop realization rapidly.
Oh, yeah, that's like you said, because I'm the conduct that's not. Because I'm the conduct that be Nibagna, Jamru said that we are Jamru said that we did that. Gerard Chebarchimu came Mares. In a con Jamru said that we and that. Okay, Sashiganias, and shooting on set up that and that. So she said that the any Sanya partner Nagegan set up for your restriction.
As part of the third preliminary rite, that of developing the mind of enlightenment and going for refuge, which includes those two, the visualization of the refuge field was presented, and it differs slightly from the visualization of the merit field. In the case of the visualization of the field of refuge or the refuge, one visualizes the refuge atop thrones, firmly grounded. However, in the case of the visualization of the merit field, this occurs in space itself. The visualization, the field itself, takes form in space itself.
Oh, yeah, that indeed, and then social set of a Yulamdi Lugis, and that social set of the sugars, and the share the sugars, and that the and so the that way. Korangi 나는 사실은 이좀 열이나는 다단다 조 라마치백 라브링 소싱세다단 디 실라샤네 아니 마 디시슈구야레스 디 카르체네레스나 아니 벤젤로산 취진 코랑기 라마치백이 다도 소싱 세다 송와로 왔어 아니 코랑기 구도 니바지 벤젤로산 이시스 벤젤로산만데 반데 코랑로산 반데서 코랑기 아니 유람디 좀니 아니 바길라마 집에 소시 세다들이다 라빙 세서지 이바 송도 제네 아니 마 세다들이 쇼기 알았세다 라마 집에 소시 세다들이다 다다 뉴랑 소시 세다들이부터 아니 소시 계단 지바 요래서
디자인에 그래서 근데 최진 정보 최진 로산 예시 니버디
로산 반네
로산 반
이제 구도 군이 찍 시바를 찍어 봐라
네 정보디
이제 로산 취진
The tradition of the visualization of the merit field, the visualization and petitioning of the merit field is derived in our case from the swift path, the tradition of the swift path. And in the overall tradition of the treatises on the stages of the path to enlightenment, there are several techniques for visualizing and petitioning the merit field presented there. But we will take as our basis, our point of departure, the Guru Puja, which will be the basis for the explanation that follows. The Guru Puja was composed by Lozang Shujin and then again by Lozang Balden, in which, in the Guru Puja here, the visualization of the merit field is presented. And so, because it is contained in the Guru Puja, we will base our exposition on that as well. And again, it is derived from the swift path.
Oh yeah, that is that in the social setup setup you can tell us na. Like as I'm going to share, they don't yeme halang mo kosan ju tibe uisu la sida. The ransom susu sem the watch mbota. Ani mo tongba ni yesu mebe ishi di. Ani ya hagi number ya hagi shine shilag number ya chane. Di nanga ki susu pa ko. Ani oti susu ko ba tigi ani nanga di mola ani social setup or as one.
As described like last week, the visualization of the merit field takes place in space itself. Space itself as the wide celestial pathway of inseparable bliss and emptiness, the nature of one's own mind, the nature of one's own mind, the primordial wisdom of one's mind being the wisdom of inseparable bliss and emptiness. In this space, the merit field takes form.
Oh yes, that's 계획이 시딜라니 간제 거기에 대동 남로도 차와 대시배 동고 시께서 돼 대고도 동고 남로도 차와 되지 거지 대양 아니 거기에 사시디 거기에 춘주 많이 뭐 첨부 구양보 아니 대양 봐 제사대 담에베 되게 많이 봐 아니 신개발제 무진다 라시 간다다 거기 계획이 단다 모습 계획이 거기 도핑 계획이 동보요 동보 대양 아니 오메 자주를 깨봐 대양을 무진 무진을 되게 주봐 대양이 나게 간간도 아니 배 구산 주력이 되게 배 강에 대요 봐 어떻게 지가 세다고 해서
The support foundation where the visualization of the merit field occurs, where the merit field takes form, the space in which the merit field takes its form is the space of bliss emptiness, the wisdom of bliss emptiness. And there in that space, the merit field takes its form, and the merit field is not narrow, small, but is vast, broad. It isn't ordinary, it is extraordinary. Its shape is of a trunk, an extraordinary trunk of precious metal with roots in a sea of milk that spreads its branches into space. The tree is ornamented with precious gems, and all about the tree and space are Samantabhadra's offerings.
어, 다디 빼매 동북이 때 기디네야다 한달 데이팅도라 빼매기 된 이어봐. 데데 빼매 된 망고이버 데데 르바도 진짜 르바 쭉지 이어봐지 삼로 땅으로서 르바 쭉지제 대야 아니 다 르바 쭉지 대야 아니 야체 중다 아니 야 그리고 토제 빵도야 또 르바지냐 야 토르 반치가 직제 르바 담보 인반이바 르바 숨바 르바 시바 루제 쭉지야 강한 지여바 삼로 땅으로 해서
On the branches of the crown of this tree grow lotus flowers in levels, 11 levels, as one rises up. As one climbs above the tree, there are 11 stations of the lotus seat.
야, 네가 배마다 니네 dimba 당고 얘기 다 타네야 집에서 뭐 쭉지버디 얘기 강한데 키로 뭐 쭉지버디 강라 아니 배매 된 다만 시바치 삼도 당고서 배매 되면 다만 시바치지 대디도 아니 다만 시바디 디간도는 배매 세루 빼매기 때문에 길을 매도다 담아다 실루요가 대상도 길을 실루요가 섬다 실루 뒤가라 아니 대대라 가르거든 유디 아니 누구 취시를 누구 매실을 주베 아니 이메데 대ting돌라 아니 취시를 주베 다외때 어딘데 이거 빼매 월 빼매 아니 이메데는 다외때 어딘데 이거 아니 삼로 땅으로서 아니 니마다 다와테 대대도 고고야 보시오 같은데 미국에서 해서
The 11 stations of the lotus growing from the crown of the tree ought to be pictured very clearly and vividly. The lotus with 4 petals. At the heart of the lotus, the anther. Atop the anther, the sun disk and the moon disk. The sun disk, fine and thin like a watercress. So too the moon disk.
다 근데 이도 잡았다 거기 월 빼매데 some 미고야 깨고야지 아니 거액이 껴는 통은 껴는 게 많고 봐 제가 천대가 된다라 이중기 삼박이 쓰바 이중기 삼박이 예벌도 고고여 봐 천대가 지도라 빼매데 송고여 해서
The lotus conveys that the person is endowed with renunciation free from the stains of cyclic existence. Thus, the purpose of visualizing the lotus is uncontaminated, undefiled by the stains of samsara.
다 네가 님에 대한 샤고도 님아되게 아니 가서 로도 멤버치야 지기요 그 님의 지기요가 나시 하나도 뒤지게 심지게 규 멤버 제바디 아니 전화 자주 쌤이 지기요서 아니 전화 자주 쌤데 님에 대한 다 배쳐 맞는 송화를 해서로서 아니 님에 대한 고야 돼 아니 뒤지게 규 멤버 제베 치도라 님에 대한 세다고 해서
The sun disk conveys the ripening effect of ultimate bodhicitta on the minds of disciples to be tamed. All disciples who have yet to ripen in their minds are ripened by ultimate bodhicitta, and the force of ultimate bodhicitta is conveyed in the symbol of the sun disk.
that 이거는 다외 된 삼바타한테 다외 센디 다외기디 아니 왜까르와 아니 시베 사회 동에 세워 지기요바 인다 군조 장주 쌤되기 아니 셰당기 원기 아니 사회도 셰당기 동에 세워 제바다 왜까르와 되게 아니 뭐라 싶에 쌤지라신 오들 땡기 열에서
The moon disk, as the moon, radiates a white light. The white moonlight of the moon cools the suffering of samsara, cools the fever of suffering, and its white translucence is of the nature of mind.
that is 다와다 님의 대니 평고하기 규제디 아니 또 같은 탑도 셔럽니 또 천대치고레스 탑도 셔럽니 천바치고레스 디나네 님의 대인데 월제 다외대 간을 여바디 탑시 이게 나는 저 탑이 차디 냐면 저 지구 여바 천대 순구여래서
Therein, the symbolic meaning of these two, the sun disk and the moon disk. The moon disk is placed atop the sun disk, and this too conveys this unique feature of the individual that conveyed here, most importantly, is the method. There are two, the method aspect and the wisdom aspect. By placing the moon disk on top, conveyed there is the primary importance of the method aspect.
that they something that they got the dela and it had the that you chanso yanda sumlo on your che tunyegi and lamadi and it should dig on take your response.
So through these three, the lotus, the sun disk, and the moon disk, we acknowledge that the individual, the person atop the throne, is endowed with these three: renunciation, relative bodhicitta, and ultimate bodhicitta, and has turned these three into his very force and energy.
Oh yeah, that payment they give chungo the drinking. Ani page that you did the demo. Ani Nimada Dawadigi, ani Kibu Chumbugi that Sunjay Tapsi Chaju Semni than Demba. Ani Kasa that it should be the say that Lamadilla or the day you did the Demba Sunday Chitula. Ani that they did some of them were Vincenti or which more is one.
The lotus seat conveys the trainings of the individual of lesser scope. The sun disk and the moon disk convey the trainings of the individual of greater scope, the trainings in method and in wisdom. All three, the trainings of lesser, middling, and greater scope, are fully consummated in the individual, the person sitting atop the throne. That this individual contains the qualities derived from these trainings is conveyed by these three seats, and so the purpose behind the visualization of these three seats.
Oh, that take on the Shunyagi. That Lama Digi, any college pay sand of the college Jorisna, Lama Losan, Tuan, Doji Chance, Mishi, Ming Yubato Jores. Chezanta di Indu, any Tangur Lama Sedu, Susu Chetus and Lama de Songores. Losan Sedu, any Lamri Digi Tabu, Jeremy Songores. And Tuan Sedu, Tembe Tabu, Shajatu Songores. And Doji Chang Sedu, and Samagi Tabu, and Jawa Doji Chang, or that to Mish Patana Mishi, but the Digi, that the Digi Mishi, but any more chicky ballot. Okay, the what she about the Digi, some of called as one.
The individual atop this throne is the person of Lama Losang Tubong Dorje Chang. These are four names. These would seem to be the names of four different persons, but they are one individual. Lama, the guru. Losang, the progenitor of the tradition of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, Jetong Kappa. Tubong, the Buddha Shakyamuni, and Dorje Chang, the Vajradhara Buddha of the secret Madhyana. These four, the Guru, Jetong Kappa, Shakyamuni Buddha, Vajradhara, are the four persons of this single individual of a single essence or single nature, with these four differentia in these four persons.
Oh, that is she the any. Okay, Mishi to chick server to some time your mares, Penamo, Jalato in a Penachudo in a Chushiki or these two chick there. A meadow in a meso rules and the mesh machimbo chinju the rules and chicks are and Jalato in a cochic to rules and chick zeg to the students, other two chicks were your what and little sometime maresta. It is some of my message called usually Shiran Yuba in a more chigiba. Oh, the digit some of the town to a forest.
Yangachi Sunduchi.
Chigi, Jalado in a Jala, Miller, she, you know, could chick to so to a charging the euro. Then the rest of some time you are maris. And the Kandar Chilolo, take on the middle Tondo, you know, or she don't toy your. In a young more chick. In that more chigiba. Then not a chat chigiba. Oh, yeah, she made a she, but the digit some of them.
These three persons of one individual shouldn't be thought of the way, along the lines of the way material substances may be reduced down to some single property or some single substance. For instance, any external object that might be in one way or another reduced. Instead, these are these are four aspects of a single essence, four appearances to a single phenomenon.
다디 코도심 찍 수에서는 아주 찍 하게 미시 찍도 잘 선데 삼로다는 아주 찍도 차 두고 말했어. 다 수수게 선배 나왔다. 가다 나오게 철주고 돈은 찍도 잘 투야 열었어. 이 철투야 열. 가스나 코너시 뭐 찍래 열었어. 꼭 도박이 전에 다대래. 전에 찍랬어. 인자 고 가져서 선배 두고 철주 삼바 아니 찍도 잘 투야 여바지기.
If one goes about this in a certain way, it's impossible to imagine four persons and one individual. You simply can't imagine that four discrete individuals are actually one individual. But one overcomes this challenge by an awareness that these are four appearances that share the very same essence. They are four ways in which differentia distinguish appearing phenomena, yet the underlying essence and nature remains unified.
다들 마삼로 간데스탄 거랬으나 아니 좀 된데 고란 산게니 아니 야체를 남지를 봐 송들 삼바 개롱게 남바제 아니 주고 남송 거네 아니 주고를 뭐 숨고를 와서 어디를 거니 샤제도 봐 어디래서 근데 고란게 아니 사물 남지를 봐또 숨거지들 아니 나도 저거를 숨어들 아니 하게 도지창을 남발라 때네 아니 마도 저거 되게 숨어리 마도 저거 되게 찾아 숨어 여러 와서 그래서 근데 이들 아니 강사 찍 넘버 메다와니 땡전 아니 내가 메다니 지도 어디나시 제가 삼로 땅으로 해서 놓으시나.
For instance, the Buddha Shakyamuni, following his achievement of enlightenment, taught the vast practice. And he taught, the Buddha Shakyamuni taught the vast practice through the appearance and aspect of the bhikshu wearing 3 dharma robes and turned the 3 wheels of the dharma as part of the sutrayana. And then, so too was a mantrayana taught by a Buddha, the very same Buddha, but in the form of Vajradhara, teaching the profound view in the mantrayana. So here in the Buddha Shakyamuni, through 2 appearances, 2 aspects, 2 different projects were engaged in through 2 different forms of appearance.
天나시 주송도 주 미다 요나시 되게 남주 미다 배나 신지식 주송도 아니 셰 디로 셰고 차수루 샵주루 데레기 남주체네 아니 셔송 아니 상황되게 주송도 셰숨차도 아니 대적 차송 셰수도 아니 차 중이다 아니 샵 마부요 데레기 남주 땡제 아니 데레기 야윤다 제베게 남바 땡제 아니 한달 송이 저도지 장이나가 좀 마셔지 두고 그런 미치그래 이나양 뒤제기 오기 아니 감도 매배 오기 남주 나서 때봐 어디데 대나 신진이 안 가다가서 다 라메 조데 데지는 뭐송 두고 해서
Design 신시시티 아니셔 그
라고 차주로
주로 아니
샵주로 차수로 아니
숨쉬죠. 라.
그래. 다운되고 시좀 차도. 대조라는 다시 숨으로 아니 차 중이 아니 샵대 샵계에서 여러 어들이.
In the tantras, such as Vajrabhairava, the Buddha Shakyamuni, or the Buddha Vajradhara, takes the form of Vajrabhairava with 9 faces and 16 hands and 36 feet. In the Guhya Samaja. Vajradhara Buddha takes the form of Guhya Samaja with 4 faces and 6 hands. In the Chakra Samvara Tantra, the Buddha Vajradhara shows 3 faces, 12 hands, sometimes 8 feet. So in this way, Vajradhara Buddha, or the Buddha Shakyamuni, for the benefit of disciples, changes the appearing aspect through which they teach.
아직 거기에 갤럽 주숨 세야 자오다 아니 디네바 제르 거저 어디게 남발 땡체네 아니 뒤제기다 제수 송화 제게 남바 안 다다 나란돌라 다 뒤에 치돌라 아니 수수 라멘 남바 어디데 땡니 아니 냠면 제고래 해서 그러지.
Thinking along these lines, then, we can recognize in the Buddha Shakyamuni, who taught the Sutrayana, vast practice through 3 turnings of the wheel, Vajradhara of the secret Mantrayana, who taught the profound view through various tantras. And then followed the degenerate age in which the very same individual conveyed the Buddha Dharma as Pandit and as Abbot, the great Abbot Shantarakshita and the rest. And now more recently, the very same person conveys the teachings of the Buddha Dharma, but through the person of the Guru before it.
Oh yeah, that tina sing that in my luju mangu yor that is on the mushroom mogo chase. And that sanjegi and simjegi. Yunzendo some tangina and a sajegi simjegi terma zebegi. And 2 mess, sanjegi simjegi turn tajima simjen tayibe turn doburis. That thing was yondaji shigi or was. So that ring to the Marandula and the sanjegi that turn countries cigarette. Sanjegi Suzuki turn countries cigarettes, that Handeg Lama Rama Chut and the Lama D. And Sanjegi, that Juba Kesi Yuba Yina, and Tima to Nye Meba. Chikche. Oh, yeah, that Dili Shembe and Sanjegi, that has Semjegi turn Zebat Kanda Semjegi turn Zedutamba Chut. Semjegi turn Tarsiba, the turn Yosoba Zeba Chabala, and then Lamek Sanjegi Sungutone, Semjegi turn Zego Yuba. Tayan, and that Lama di Pat Shane and Semjegi turns. Shida Sanjegi on Semjegi turns a Niemeba. Oh, the Jigi Zengi Chan, that Shedama, which you are responsible.
There are many other accounts of the emanation of the person of the Buddha through various forms, but we won't dwell on all of them. Instead, move forward along the same line of thought, in recognition of the reality wherein there is no time, no moment in which a Buddha is absent, in which a Buddha is not engaging in the well-being of sentient life. Every sentient being, in the end, has their purpose consummated and fulfilled through the enlightening activities of the Buddhas, every last sentient being. And so when we come to dwell on the present moment and recognize that now too the well-being of sentient life is served by the Buddhas, where is it served? Where is this labor found? The one apparent place is in the person of the Guru from whom we learn the Buddha Dharma. This is one person carrying out the well-being of sentient beings. And then we move to consider where else these enlightening activities are occurring. And they are occurring through these three other persons of the Buddha that are consummating the well-being of sentient life in a vast manner. So here we have these four persons. Now, we find the scriptural basis for this interpretation in the Sri Kasama Tantra. All these beings are the embodiment of the five Dhyani Buddhas. They will appear in many guises, just like other versions of a portrait. They still embody the same great bliss. They still feel the same great bliss, but take on many guises.
Oh, yes, and Dodi took the tray on do, combat to do that, Yavapidu to combat on do, Mancha Luyen, the Chariots, Luyen, Madonna, Casinachi, Luyen, the Chariots, that's who we are this. That in it, the Cho Casula, and she needed the Jan, and it's who we are this. Says that she needed the Jan, that she by Yina, and in time, Haresina, Mazo Simjing, Chandala, that Namjuda. 아니 수족이 지금 세기 돈에 아니 심지기 돈 타이버 제여가 배트 송구요 해서
There are two ways in which these verses are customarily interpreted. From the standpoint of the secret Mantrayana, they may be interpreted as the isolation of the body. From the standpoint of the Sutrayana, they may be interpreted as instruction in the proper way to rely upon the spiritual mentor, the guru. If one interprets in this latter way, one finds the well-being of sentient beings served through this perception, this proper reliance upon the spiritual mentor.
Oh, yeah, I'm Berlin, Chamjanic, Mayor, Chamjanic, Midizuan, Bab, that is a community, could mean that she meet me, die of us. Inaya, Michi, Champa, she couldn't travel, could mean me that she died in a Chammy, Michi of us, or the big person we are husbands.
In Tibetan opera, there is a primary performer, dancer, who will wear various masks over the course of the opera, and that person is named differently depending on the mask they wear. So one person wears 4 different masks and has 4 different names, but that person is just one person wearing various masks.
Oh, 말아서 되게 영달아 여러다 미지 배는 체 샤르조기 체지 그 아니 샤르조기 그 루도 지난 거 있나 콜라 샤오 샤르조 셰다 아니스기래 아니 한 조기 셰다인데 아니나지 수도 그 남주미자와 체 미자가 더는 콜라 민미자 따기로 와서 이나야 미지 그래서 콜라 체 미자가 오게 남주다 체 미자가 오게 아니 콜라 따주미자와 민미자가 연구도 와서 어디나시 다 단단한 라마 시샤야 돼 나 삼로 땅에 직체 이나 밖에 남주다 직도 뒤제기 삼백 왕이 아니 시 이거 같이 내 삼로 땅 보고 해서
Just as a person may dress in costume and sing to you from the east direction, in which case you'd say, here is a singer singing from the east, dressed this way, name just this. Just as soon the same individual may perform from the west wearing a different costume and receive another name. This is one person, this may well be one person, costumed differently, appearing differently, and therefore named differently. In the same way, the four persons of the individual, the Buddha whose intent is always the same, shows in various aspects suited to the disciples to be tamed.
Nangi number the non su samdadu tuan to sambutan. And it's Samek samdadu, Dojichang, sometime ba. That in a ship, Mats, Stalon, and also Tambo Suzuki, Pake Duja, short Juba de Zu, La, and Zabatem Chane, Dojichang in number. And it Duja let Hawa in Duvis Chane, and Tuang number the Bares. And it in Duja Che. 거기에 뒤다 고백 뒤질 때네 아니 다 남리 송 다니 라멘 나바데 제rum제 나바데 다 단단 알아도 이제 담에 봤다 타만 알아도라 아니 수수랑 라마지 나바데 다 라마 나바데 제네 아니 다 남들 최송 안도 되지 봐 어쩐다 다들 미치기 내가 시체고 내가 한번 당 오래서 방송 참
Here there are four persons of one individual. The essence of the individual is the very essence of our guru, our spiritual mentor. The external aspect, the external appearance of the individual is a person of Tsongkhapa. The internal appearance of the individual is a person of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And the secret appearance, the secret aspect, the secret person of this individual is Vajradhara Buddha. Now, the best of disciples may perceive Vajradhara Buddha. Those who were engaging in purification and well purified were able to perceive and encounter the Buddha Shakyamuni. As times degenerated, others encountered the Buddha Dharma through Tsongkhapa. And at the present moment, we at an ordinary level of understanding encounter the Buddha, the individual of the Buddha through our guru. And so the well-being of sentient life is carried out in this way. The promulgation of the Buddha Dharma carried out in this way for persons of one individual.
Oh, yeah, that and that's a thing on that should get her they get then the Sata can like should be get the payment on that, gets an that. 티디가 대얘기 라마데다 명들 같은 라마 로상 동안 보지 찬스 다 수수기 삼로나 통인도 랑기 라마데 통도 다티 시가 때문도 통투와 딜리지 중화이나 아니 소신 개발자 세탁해 요구요해서
Upon these seats sits the Mahatma, the great individual of Lama, Losang, Tuwong, Dorje Chang, four persons of one individual. If when encountering one's guru, one's spiritual mentor, one sees these four, then one has visualized and petitioned the supreme merit field.
lama tsayadi, lama di, ane sangye kamje su dube mo, rangla namba sharvati, namba shar susubi, shu sa, mo tanda tamebe namba tene, lamega namba tenjo di, namba shargeles, odi namba shao, di sangye kudu dani mo, namba shao, odi nyameg nechi resong.
The guru, one's teacher, is the collection, is the very essence of all the qualities of all the Buddhas. In the person of the guru, all of the essence of all of the Buddhas is contained in a form that appears ordinary. One must perceive one's guru in this way, as of the essence of the Buddhas.
Oh, yeah, that deal is some of them susuki. There's now the chung and a quarter of ya chana and in mark subject to a lamen and Jerusalem. And in your lady said, there was your grace. Deal of Quamachana, lamen and your mambu gomna and in quality Machana lamen and your suppos. Lamen and your sabo, the sabu mare said, and then she jata your response.
When this perception is developed sufficiently, the Guru Puja takes on its sublimity and its deepest significance. Without a perception of the person of the Guru as of the essence of all the Buddhas, the sublimity and the profundity of the Guru Puja will remain yet unfathomed. So the need to develop this perception.
Oh, yeah, that is any Chidama Jotanda di Lama Sanges Tazu di subject jela. She Lamri Tamu Kotu di Tang, Joy Churu San and Lamri Kotu di, and Lamri subject Tamoti, Shini Tinzu, that Shini Tinzu Kadula, and the request of Mango question, J question, and Lunda requested. Or did you go to Jeshi, gave and did you some future or cheese on the Bejakurana, Shini Tinzu Katu.
The development of this perception is presented extensively later in the text under the section proper reliance upon the spiritual mentor. So when we have completed the 6 preliminary practices, when we begin the treatise on the stages of the path, we will meet with a very extensive presentation, demonstration, and the argumentation that supports this perception.
Oh, yes, Lamrim Chenmo Korana, Karasum was not Lamen Angels, Lamen Angels, Lama did a Yamen Shibuja, talk by your, I'll call it the new by your Seagi, Lamen Angels said. And call Gomjam, I'll call it a bit to what to your said, Lamen Angels, Kerasum was Jackie, and it had that time of Jackie, Koina, and then Lamen Angel, Tandaka, Madela Santa, your essence.
And the tradition of the treatises on the stages of the path to enlightenment, there are yogins of the guru practice, the practice, the yoga of guru reliance. And we say of individuals who are adept in this that they are realized and that they have achieved great power. For an individual who has developed this perception, they may indeed become realized, and so this practice of guru reliance, reliance upon the guru, is found in this practice of the merit field.
Oh yeah, that you go the lama cutting chill. Also, China cousin Junju she doing the lama days and cutting days. Dani Sidwa Sanji the Yending Dani Pama the Chilang Dani Stilishiko, that under the cutting and cutting chumbo ye mesa. When I'm also Chilena Lina or Miditang Alomaya, which she would share 메디가 말때 껴서 메디가 거가 가진 친구 있어도 아디나 생각도 라마데다 가진 친구 이번 따당지요. 어디 책이요. 해서
Next follows the description of how it is that the person of the guru is endowed with three kindnesses. All the kindnesses, the quality of kindness, all are contained in this person. The kinds of qualities that we ordinarily associate with our mother and father, or ordinarily associate with those ordinary individuals who favor us in some way or who have assisted us in some way. Qualities of kindness of the deepest and most significant sort, three kinds, are contained in this person of the guru.
Oh, yeah, that is another to you. Dulula, Gardens, Chinanda, Nalula, Gardens, and Neat and Zinan, Pena, your response. Oh, that Dulula Chasha Vaina, and that Lava Lungnawa, Chinawa, and that Lava Nawas, or Dilla, Panama. Chenmo we call Dombana Residua, and then call Luna, Trinas, or this one now, call a cutting Sundays, the cutting tissue cigarettes, or the distance killer race was not.
Three kindnesses are interpreted following the Sutrayana as well as following the Mantrayana. In the Sutrayana, these three kindnesses are the kindnesses of instruction in the training, transmission, and instruction and experience. From an abbot, one receives their trainings, also transmissions, and also explanations. And in this way, an abbot contains these three kindnesses.
Oh, yeah, that now Lula, yeah, got in some saying the Cadets was no one poor. You sheba, Memanos, what the Tisum Lama Chick with the Tobayina. And the color cutting some dance, better lamen and the negative root, the Savella is that's his like, and cutting some little the rest ones.
In the Mantrayana, the preceptor, the Vajra master, initiates into the Mantrayana, provides exposition of the Tantras, and provides oral instruction. And so the guru contains these three, or is of these three kindnesses.
Oh, yeah, that is it. That in it, that and then was Lamrim Koran, the shake Japan channel, and it's so sing that then the Hijan to Samata, also Tanda more in Jetta Lamati, Chi Nabala, Amatonga, but the number channel, the Pakish Tijata, Pejagana, the Shiti Yorwa. There's not that the Lamatonga, but any country or as Lamata, Kum Michamas. The main Tonga was Gelongi, Mumis and Basti said, can tell she to see the Gelongi Mumis and Kum Mumichawa. The Kum Mumichawa, the Kado, when the Tajo Resa. And any Sudan, the Chaya Chuji, the cousin of the Shimawajiva, Chaya Chuji, Yamayam, the Juzika, long sentence. At the Tomba Sudan, I see that she was some down restaurants. As a government, Yambuko to Shevan as you not get to go to the around the market. And I see what's happening. That's what's coming.
The petitioning of the merit field in the treatise of the stages of the path of enlightenment involves the picturing of the person of the guru with external aspect of Jetson Kappa. That external aspect is pictured in this way. Seated there is my root guru who possesses the three kindnesses and is the essence of all the Buddhas. He appears as a bhikshu, dressed in reddish yellow with one face and two arms, and is smiling radiantly. The reddish yellow is the color of the robes. The appearance is of a bhikshu, and the gesture of the bhikshu's hands are just as I described in the context of refuge, the one in equipoise, the other teaching the Dharma.
Oh, yeah, I mean, very cheaper the double the very cheaper the Hindu Ubel, you are from. Was that Lunse Kawan, yes, I did not the table to win the Ubel, you was in it. And the you was in budget. You was in the ubaladi cha yer do yon dina sew chimido düzü kahve lungsen besa tebzu gisa ani ubali yoazi baje damanye ji tedusa kajibe medo kajibe egi dindu şerabji reji zemu jaba şerabji reji zemu jungse bawe dindu ge dong lebamna basba da cha ye de sare medo ubala du stawa bage tedu la yoba che dine medo cha ye la ya she medo kachi ani medo tinne jato ba 동반이 기타도 버다 동반이 기타도 베게니 남바도 요바데 부디기 남바체 예 바다디 보라 지자단 뒤 용달라 예 동반 남바를 부디기 예 동반 남바체 예 동반이 기타도 심바치 거데 미바치
Dicho,
no
where the visualization of this person differs slightly from the central figure of the refuge visualization is in the fingers of the person here, Chitsongkapa, which hold, in this case, the right hand holds the utpala, the stem of the utpala flower, which blossoms there to the right, on the right side of Chitsongkapa, and atop the blossoming utpala flower is the resonant, self-resonating Buddha Dharma in the form of the 8,000 line Prajnaparamita, the self-resonating 8,000 line Prajnaparamita is the very sound of emptiness. This is visualized on the Utpala blossom of the Utpala flower held in the right hand of Chitsongkapa.
It is not the able to Opala thing to register to that. No, register the year de la register Metung Separo, Sherab Metung Separo. You think to that, any Tombani level, Tombani Trato, what the union things. You and the register. You don't want the union, don't want that is part of the what is celebrated member of it. You and the learning don't want you to be jet on the level you but some down.
Actually, it's on the right is the sword licked by the flames of the sword of wisdom. They're on the right of Jitsongkapa. On the left, just as I described, on the left is the self-resonant Dharma of the 8,000 line Prajnaparamita expressing emptiness.
Oh, yes, that didn't my hand, the Shijik Java Karna, Susu, Rani, Susu Yan, Mikpa Chidu Mata, Penamazo, Lamrim, Tosam Chidu Ibaina, and Lebamdi, and in Lamrim, Lebam de la Samotan, Tele, and it Yacho, the Lamji, but the data of Mibachina. Suzu never you but it's it away
and here in our context, during an exposition of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, it is fine to picture, rather than the 8,000 line Prajnaparamita, the very treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment in all of its vastness and profundity.
Oh yeah, then Namsa Kugunda, the sugar them from Servache. The Kugum did song major, Mase Ani that Kugunda was it, and Kugum Sugar turn that Mars Mamma the Sevo the Lady down Gambache, the delay Koyde Sumur, Sugar Lago Nango Sum, she had the 아니 죽어도 세고 마음도 라고도 마음 안 당고도 마세 어디에 셔가지 아니 울었어 좀 되는 좀 도요다 저런 제대로 오셨난 거지 세르기 도저히 여기 오셨제 너무 요바지 어디지 제바지 미바 세다고 해서
Sugar 가도 그래. Sugar.
만 추구 이제 라고 당고 순도아
너.
추구디 세부세
어.
아니 디올라 라고디 마무제
어.
남자디 마세 어디서 어디지 남자들이 저 아니 꼴로 패셔너리 제바지
너.
패셔너리데 제디야 너무야 이거 어디지 세다고 해서
He wears the three saffron colored robes. These are three robes. The Dharma robe is yellow, the other red, and the other red yellow. These three robes are worn by the bhikshu, and his head is adorned with a golden pandit's hat. The hat is yellow and is pointed.
오야 다디 안 쳔모 쳔노부 여바디 아니 따웨가 돌로베 다 간다 따웨 쳔모기 쳔 당시 쳐바디 쳔이야 노부 여바지스 근데 뒤들에다 소류다 미버시도 되게 지구고 열었어 아니 디체데 가즈나 따웨가 제바디베 장고 요분이야 땜제기 지도 되게 아니 쳐바데스 다들 숨유를 라마치베 티나데 다디 제시망고 열어서
The yellow cap is pointed, and its pointedness, its sharpness, conveys the penetrativeness of the exposition of the person related to the view of the Buddha Dharma. It is penetrative, sharp, the exposition, and this has in its auspicious symbol the pointed cap.
오야 다디 이제좀 단다디 라마치베 치기 나라 지단다 라마치베 치기 나다 소신 세다들이 다단다디 지고 쉬고 요바 이제 라마치베 치기 나라 다 제름부체디 세다 디 투가다 뉴마니기 기 삼절라 아니 투베오모 세다 투베오모 결론은 나바체 세다 디 투가라 아니 겨와 도지창 윤지치 윤도지 인주말로 큐되버스 어디에 세다 디 두가 되라 아니 홍보치 어디에 세다 오레스 디 세다 베데니 삼바 숨지 제 세다 오다 세다 나들에 에스모지
육메심기 길라에 라이 스님베 육심기 길라라
누만이 기스
알알알.
남주
어.
디 가서 치기다 가서 디 누만이 참 되지라
알아.
아니 두배 뭐지 제
어.
두배 뭐 되게 투가라 아니 도지창 도지창 되게 투가라 홍 도지창 되게 여유 제줄 상당스 아니 디 투가라 홍 뭐지 상당스 홍 뭐지 다 되게 삼바 숨지세 어디 어디서
The external aspect of Jisong Kappa has for its internal aspect between the two channels at the heart, the Buddha Shakyamuni. The Buddha Shakyamuni has in secret aspect at the heart Vajradhara with consort. At the heart of Vajradhara with consort is the syllable home. These three together are the triple stacked sattva.
오야 따디 가르쳐 그랬으나 다 치기 넘버 결혼의 넘버 다다디 치기 넘버데 라멘 넘버지 정가 받지 이 나로 출로 동안 세다 소한 디니 가래 담직 생활 하고 담직 생활제 이 두갈라야 도지 생활에 윤 세다베디 이시 생활 담제 이 두갈라 후이 공부 생활이 띵이 생활
Understand and follow this clearly. The external appearance of Jitsong Kappa and the inner appearance of the Buddha Shakyamuni. These two are the commitment being. Vajradhara with consort at the heart is the wisdom being. The syllable hum at the heart is the concentration or samadhi being. These three, wisdom being, rather commitment being, wisdom being, and samadhi being, are the three sattvas.
Hoye, ta di ani chik phage ganzo chala to tu chik dan chik shawa to de samatang yo mar khan ko namba ge o chik yimbala ani thong ju me jaw chik chungwa ma to chik yang ganzo chala chik na la chik chik chu ma ngo shan an ko kha de de to samatang yo di ta na ani sem na chu chal de go yo gu mar ta khandar phage ming do ta sa do ji siwe lam yu wong de do yu na yang So
here these three sattvas are three various appearances, but not various appearances that should challenge the unity of the individual. Here are three appearing, yet their essence is unified, a unity. They're named variously, yet they are nevertheless a unity to make possible for yourselves profundity in the Guru Yoga. Make this comprehensible and experiential, the four persons in the single individual.
Today, Mambo Oguyoro, today, Jaya, Tadal, Samba Sumsik, Mibachadi, she had nation Bores, Shazan, that Chigi number, Lamata, and the again Nangi number to Tubiongo, Tina no Samang number della, Dojichan. Any Samang number della, Dojichan as well. And it took a Hui, thing is December della, I mean, the Hui, the or December Sumsidi, and Tada. 어느 단다 람림 가수라 대시했던 난 주듯이 춘주시던 거라서 하지만 나 기름도 조르냐는 지금 다 대숨디 매도 메로와 어디 대시 야심보 요래 아니 베스 냠네 베다 망고 요래스 이네다 디단다 디나라다 수르츠 된 람림은 좀 냠네 제약체도 수르츠 된 슈고 요래서
In actual practice, the triple sattva is critical for the well-being of sentient life carried out in vast activities and profound penetrative view. These three sattvas are indispensable. Visualizing and comprehending them is critical. The external appearance of one's guru and Chetsongkapa, the internal appearance of the Buddha Shakyamuni, the secret appearance of Vajradhara, at whose syllable, rather heart, is the syllable hum, as the samadhi being. These three and the four persons of the individual of the Buddha are indispensable, critical practices. There are many presentations and interpretations of this subtle practice and many techniques for executing it. But here we have, just for a moment and as only an aside here, touched on it in the most cursory fashion.
Samba Diro, things is Samba Sundu, Hui Tele, and we say, say, how you do smart true, Dinipa, we say you are Nangalachi, and they are Zebobuchi, and did say you chick Yelachi, that will say the thing to La Anita, Jaji, you to Samuta, you would Lamrim, you with Lamazo, and said the bed, that did not mix your response. Only the yearly. Nagal, you say the I would say the pose of Nea, the Nagalin, but the Bombos is standing, Singam Tamji, Caviar, the Chimbu, deep in Dula, and Yetela, a judge you. And that la make it so Java Chamba, Java Chamba, then Talang of Sudan, Doji, Sudan, Jotiche, and Dinimata, Panch and Jaji Juju Laming, but Jig response. And you enter the same Yachi thing the la, and he savage Lamji the door, and Bayanse. And Dinima Jaji, some of them just big Lama to school, and to secure response.
그래서 예초 이 어디 까르고도 왜 말고
자나시죠. 마세 강가셔.
아
가세 그 나치는 뒤로.
네네
가세들이 왜 뭐 자기나 왜샤. 아니 왜디 간다라. 제 파워시 아니 이게 탈리야 토토글이 야처 전부 자원들이 있는 거죠. 그래서
이네 연초티 어디 뭔가 왜 I mean,
네가 지고
the syllable hong at the heart radiates light, very fine rays of light with tapering ends that penetrate through all worlds, and to the right, this rainbow colored light in all the colors of the rainbow with fine tapered points penetrating into all worlds. To this right direction, from the light arises Maitreya and all the lineage holders of the extensive practice. And to the left, from the light, arises Manjushri and all the lineage holders of the profound view.
다디 라마기 리버티다 엔필마 체네 다사니 루직 리그도 단다 주제시나야 차가 하데사 데샤 on the towards the jigis 아니 다디 제마 로데데는 어디다 하루로 거단 코스 차그레세다 단냐메치도 도망가 냐메치네 개침부 요르세다 룰 하고 단세 아니 라브리그 소식이 라마디게 제단세 안디마 빼마 버린 자마디게 나마 달 라마 또 라마 코사르와 아니 디디마다 라마네니 산제 차세 보고 카르 시오수마 어디기디마 바제 빼메르 바지마 거단데 안제데 제메나나 시에초치스 안테는데 샤긴.
This then has been a description of some of the features of the merit field as visualized and petitioned in the Guru Puja. What remains, which we will have to resume next week, is the description of the placement of the deities within the body mandala. In the practice of the secret mantrayana, the placement of deities in the body mandala is a critical practice, and we will explore that next week. Here we have pictured, visualized the principal individual in the four persons. The rest, which we will explore next week, we'll have to wait until next week, and we will conclude here and begin with our Q&A now.
Oh yes, that's the Maseva. You are
Now, there's something that remains unclear that you'd like clarified, give some doubts, now's the time to address those.
Yeah, here's a Jason. Yeah.
Question about with this these four aspects of visualization. Do we apply it to 11 different stations, or will they be different appearances?
아니 주체기거든. 아니 레레라 아니 그래서 아니 라마 로잔 토반더지 창 아니 뭐 아니 모두 제국을 예면
말했어. 아달라마로선 통하고 사이드 세계 슈트 강강한데가 쭉찍 받더라.
강강하다.
당원이 뭐 숨어서 쭉찍으로. 쭉찍 어디가 왔다 대 얘기. 미팅 링다 미팅 간지 보고 있는데 모두 체려서.
제가 강강들에 아니 빼면 강라
쭉찍
아니 티커 쭉찍
어디가 안 되겠더라.
알고 직치해서 예 파슈에 직치해서. Now, this visualization of the individual Lama Lozam Tuban Dorji-chan, this single individual with four persons, is seated on the uppermost 11th lotus seat. Beneath this person are 10 lower lotus seats, and these will be occupied by Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dharma protectors, Daka, Dakini, and the rest.
What he referenced before the 11 layers.
The whole and Karisani Chudi and the Karisani Sangi Johnson Lasopatin Sugar. If Mar didn't Mar,
you should be on the Lamaros. That you were there, you did 유디시 와들라니 디오버다 산제 장주 semba 아니 이게 뭐라 디오들다 디오버 냐란다 녀들다 라제제 디오를 보고 컨트롤 주는 동안 어디만 내림 방아제 동안 주지 버려서
arranged beneath the person of Lama Lozon to Wonderjam are the yidam of the four classes of Tantra. Beneath these, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Shravakas, Pracheka Buddhas, Dakas, Dakinis, and the rest.
Yeah.
So the impression of it's not that it's accepted, but so my question is while we're meditating and preparing our minds and all that, it's all good and everything, but in general we are always very disillusioned by a lot of formations or sankharas in our mind. How do we remain present and how do we keep our mind free from this during the day and not just during meditation? And I have a second question. So in understanding the attachment in life, why is always our first instinct to possess and insist it's something is the phenomena or person or thing or place is mine versus yours? How do we approach this?
아니 카운터니요 그러 네 공개도 야만나 조르추 드럭디 야만 체도 좀 텍샤 너라 이네 다 치타 아니 튼삼이로 아니 튼삼라 소스기 아니 남기용이 자샤 체디 잠라 소스기 그러 그래 뒤체 라 뒤체기 왕기 아니 디 남기용이 서로와 아니 그래서 미대바 그래 근데 좀 아니 깡깡 정도 아니 디 메로zo야라 가르치 그랬어 자 근데 직제 근데
알레티가는 지지 얘기다 지금 주선 저 맞으냐 저 다 튠다 튠점이 년에 먼저 뒤 년내지도 튠점도 개체 지금 그래서 이 개체입니다라서 튠이하고 용만에 튠점도 쇼라래 그래서 이 년내지단 더 당시나 아 빠디레서 튠점라 튠기 뭐 튠지 값을 라베기 전반되게 튠점라 이미지 맞이고 거래서 뭐 전부 거래서 어디 개체무시라 요래서 빠디네 먼저 지가 받아 셈뭐 콤바 인도 춘점라 아니 춘점지 배 쉬우지 더 빼지는 쉐바다 신가도 용 데스칼 하고 요래서 가서 셈 고미요 말해서 셈 아주 얌령 원에 무시 고쪽에 검사나 춘점라 해쳐 숨고에 이 안에 지워할 대시 디워할 막 슈초스 이 뒤서 어디서 얘기하는 아니 맞고
Let me jump right in to address the first. And that's to say the formal organization of one's time into the formal meditation sessions and the period between formal meditation sessions is a critical framework. And really the success in the formal meditation comes from accomplishment or some ability in the period between formal meditation sessions. In a meditation session, mindfulness must be kept vigilant. But then as one develops in their practice, a time comes when the period between meditation sessions becomes the more important of the two. It is really in the period between formal meditation sessions that the greatest gains are made. So a further description of just what this entails must come later. I just want to say that to address the first question now.
어제는 또 튼도 좀 세대 도다 되래. 그다음에 가서 쌤 말고만 쌤 요구와 요도 좀 이내 쌤은 전부지 말라고 냐투야. 제만 거기 비하고 요한 그도지 사고 와. 어디서 그런가. 내매 있고.
In generation and completion stage practices, the border, the demarcation between the formal session and the period between sessions is made by the movement of the subtle wind. When the subtle wind is still and unmoving, one is in the formal session. The moment it moves and is no longer still, one has entered the period between formal sessions. Now for us, as we have yet to become very sensitive and very familiarized with practice, we endeavor to maintain a mindfulness. hinkiegi yorwa 가르치는 hinkiegi 왕기 아니 되차 이 아니 종그래 그렇다면 아니 어디를 이 녜다 최기 녜기 잘라 예워체기 아니 공시 아니 hinkiegi 잡아봐 간제스 종그래
그런 카드 드시면 이제 소리는 드시겠나.
Okay, I'm going to come about on that. I'm going to come about at that question in a roundabout.
그래서 공부서 이무제저와 이무제디 아니 되셔야지 당부 몸배우고 당부 되셔야지 그래서 되셔야지 게 되어 되셔야지 시외 넘버지는 게 그래서 어서 시외 넘버지 그래서 게도 아주 둘러라 아주 빼나 잡아 거도 잡아파 6초저지다 잡아 6모투니 잡아 이고도 빼나 놈도 거기 있나 올라서 저 타고 말이는 다 두고 말어. 디나는 니도도 매도도 도도 서로 사는 것도 섭다 유튜브로 와. 어디나 신 대사디 깨되고 요래 빵하고 요래서 육하고 요래서 니무 셴바도 때스 육대 요래서 아무 어디 지금
네. 이제 빵하고 왔어.
대사디 중대 요래 파 때스 빵 카가 요래 니무 셴바도 때스 디스 대사 깨사는 말 제일 많이 깨기 말이 깨사도 그냥 그 답시로 육고는 육대고 요래 어디 안에 담고 대지년은 무슨 말이지 이거죠.
Desirous attachment arises very spontaneously, and it arises so effortlessly under the sway, the force of ignorance. It first appears pacific, a gentle sort of desirous attachment, unintrusive. When clothing stain, for instance, some stains are much more difficult to eliminate. For instance, when you get oil in your clothing, that's very difficult to remove. But other stains from soil and the rest are relatively easily removed. Desirous attachment is like the oil, very difficult to remove, but the spill is easy to make. It's easy for the stain to occur, but it's very difficult to remove. The other mental afflictions are a bit different. They come about less easily, but they're more easily eliminated or removed.
아니 뭐 림버지 그냥 랭장다. 뭐지 뭐죠? 뭐 맛이 달라 신주지. 다 대신 뭐로 차지. 수준 차다로 돌을 인지 좋대. 어디 아니 뭐 계단에서 뭐 셰어 배제 콩두서 떠지 못해.
아니 60대 양결 가르치네.
뭐 맛이 달라 신주지. 나기 대신 뭐로 차지 봐. 나기 대신 뭐로 차지 봐.
Kandislagre.
다기 담보 가르스는 나 직다기 하고서 담보 직다기 또 빼는 것도 담보 니무기에디 담보 니무기 니무 행기기 하고 니무 행기기 선발마도 숙제부 영어 드려서 봐 소소 공부를 미기 말을 미기 하고서 선 다리네 맞을 때 숙제를 아니 공부들 마음이 오지 공부들 파시 안에 같이 입어서 미기라고서 아니 자고지야 유들레서 만지지가 지달래 하고서 아니 되게 원게 만지지다디 아니 칼레 거 숙처 친데 아니 칼레 아니 파 시험을 카팔로로 봐 팔로도 아니 나 많이 버지야 신다시 통고다 코세지 아니 코세들이 아니 다 많이 되자 봐 요네 컨트롤 봐 요로 그걸 맞게나로 근데 해송지.
아니 60 양결식 장되는
방법 맛이 달라 신경 직사. 나기 디시 뭐 차주 봤어. 뭐 수도 선배나 나 차비 게딜 때는 아니 디기 원게 아니 신 통으로 어떻게 해서 십사월은 10월 먹고 싶고.
Now to go into this very deeply would take a great deal of time. But it is conveyed, the process, the sequence, the process of the rising of mental afflictions is pointedly described in the opening verses of entering the middle way. And there, first, the notion of I arises, and from that, the notion of others. Preceding aversion to others comes the attachment to oneself. First, one becomes aware with prepossessiveness of a self and takes a view of a transitory collection as a basis for an ostensible self. This occurs in a rather spontaneous way. The desirous attachment or self-clinging comes about quite naturally. it finds it finds in its object, it finds for its basis the aggregates that it uses to self-identify. As this process of self-identification with a transitory collection intensifies and desirous attachment intensifies, the ostensible self is strongly clung to and allows for an impression of a group, an external other that gradually one develops an aversion towards. India, so we'll leave that, just that for now.
Thank you, Geshe-la. I'm in thinking about the four appearances to a single phenomenon instruction. There are two things I'm trying. One is to see them as all having the same motivation to free us all of suffering. And the other thing I'm trying is to see them as equally empty. Are there other ways that I can try to, my mind is toggling back and forth between all four. If I'm focusing on one aspect, I'm not experiencing the other three in my visualization. So what would Geshe-la suggest for creating that feeling of unity with the four? In addition to those two things, or maybe other things.
강사 나무섬 말을 그래. 아니 라마 로상 동원 도르지장 아니 강사 시인라고 통그래 이내양 오 아니 책 아제 아니 möbel den chit zambala 아니 chigi namba 아니 텔라 맥네 아니 심바 숨데 니 예얼조고도 아니 신다치 아니 람닉네 아니 신다든서 아니 예얼조고도 아니 녜티 규책라 아니 시가 아니 통투발라 möbel체 투발라 녜 든지 삼라디 릭pati 당겨 딱 공바체 라 강사문다와 시 여바데라 아니 공바체 직체 아니 강사 아니 시가 delaya 아니 랑싱기 드롭에 통바 아니 상라당네 아니 티 두직라 아니 문라와시 아니 두직라 möbel체 투비에기 체도 아니 릭patin데 당겨 게시기 아니 두직라 아니 남바시 시 제기 체도 맹아 라고 가래 요
제가 때문에 사람들 당고에 가서는 공부 간수 라는 것도 가라고 영화세도 영화 공부세도 공부는 영화도 공부되게 되지 뭐 때때나 거기 우리 검투고 여바데 당고제 그래서 그래
서버처럼 sonde 이 용어데
공부하면서 쌤나도 너무 수수고 공부해요나 공대는 영화도 요나 통투고 와 배는 것도 됩니다. 그때도 뭐 칼에 때에는 걔네들 통도와 그때는 예비지 통화로 통도 와 쪽으로 통도 와서 교육이 개발하는 영역이 개발로 통도로 와 되게 당보도 되지 이번에 다 균생성 당보였어 균생 딱 한 달 수술이 단다 치료해서 라마디 통도 잡아 시바디기 간간 양도 통투에 여바디 균생을 삼도 당보였어 이제 가서 답변은 라마 셴바디기 상계가 도지 창다 아니 제름지기 결혼은 모두 때 그거 유나 아니 모두 가내라 그랬어 다 모두라서 저랑 취해서 라마단이라 그러면도 셴바수가 결혼 때두 말와 제가 대대이도 라마디 통도 군주 가가 결혼 로바 치투고 이거 옆투고 이거바디 라마디기도 용을 했어 라마디 마유나 결혼 산지 모두 도배 고급 나가도 요 말했어 제가 라마디 안에서 고주 감각이 삽다고 이봐. 라마디기 지도 라마 고주 감각이 제투를 삽천 두봐. 고주 감각이 라마디 마시는 고주 감각이 지하면 봐. 어디되게 균세 서로 막고 땅나. 아니 라마디 통도 시바데 간염도 통투야게. 쌤 미바디 레그를 해서.
You may go about this using both of two ways. The first, familiarity develops the sensitivity for the perception of the four persons being one individual. Just as when you do look about, you may do it slowly and take in the scene gradually, but you may just swivel quickly and the entirety of the scene is captured, is still sensible, but immediate or nearly simultaneous by the rapidity of the taking in of the scene. This is to show that the sensitivity comes with the exercise, with the meditation, and it will come from the meditation, the sensitivity to this perception. Now, the second way to develop the perception is to follow the rationale. And the rationale that underlies it is that the rationale that underlies the perception of the person of the guru as being the very individual of the Buddha, whether the Buddha Shakyamuni or the Buddha Vajradhara, is that the activities, the intent and activities of the Buddhas via Tsongkhapa, via Vajradhara, require us to ask from whence will come our siddhis and our accomplishment. If we are to achieve siddhis, what would be their source? And the source must be the Buddha Dharma of the Buddha Shakyamuni and the Vajradhara, and it must be present somewhere. And where it is present is in the mind of the guru. This is the extant source still, and the guru is the very able ambassador of all the Buddhas and the very able representative of the Buddhas, without whom there'd be no talent or ability for the conveyance of the siddhi and the realization.
Marva loza naruba marva loza charanda ani sangela chasegi be mal chasegi be sudu ani marva loza lama de wala sangi taba phe maranga sangela chasegi sudu ba ani marva de naruba to semgu dar sangi lamsa pro khon su du sharwa seda du zamani charang tada lama mebe sangi ji kyola kane trasons la sunwa da wa zeda bizu samlo bedu zu lamze ani nyame chituina lolo deji chara ni yongwa tun ani shara sewo shara yores
Naropa gave Marpa a choice. He presented Marpa. Naropa presented his disciple Marpa with a choice. You may here pay homage to me or to this Buddha who is here now. And Marpa took stock of the situation, and he saw his guru Naropa, and he saw the Buddha, and thought to himself, well, the Buddha is only here at this moment, whereas my guru is here. I'm always with my guru, so I'll pay homage to the Buddha now and prostrate to the Buddha. And just as he made that decision, Naropa withdrew the appearing Buddha back into himself and reprimanded Marpa, saying, how would you conceive of the Buddha without me? You have made a mistake here. So if you are able to exercise that very rationale, then the perception of the person of the guru as the individual of four persons, the unification of the perception will be possible. Oh,
Yeah, Ursula, I have a question. I'd like to, and you mentioned formal meditation, the time between formal meditation, and then after that was more like a discussion of kind of origination with attachment and desire. And last week, you mentioned that Mandrushri advised Zankapa after you did 3.5 million prostration to look at Buddha Talita, chapter 18, which is on emptiness, independent origination. So in the dependent origination, there's that this simple understanding of ignorance all the way to craving, but in the dependent origination, we also get emptiness and causality down to dhammas that we see in the Theravada tradition. So when Tsongkhapa was looking at the 18 chapters, was he meditating or was he in that time between meditation? And how did he look at the idea of negating inherent existence? Because that alone already has inherence if we hold that as a tool to undermine something that has inherent existence. How did he overcome that crisis? Was it through a view of Mahamudra or some other ways of gaining an understanding and insight? Because what I understand that deepen his understanding of that.
Kisa gishigi dende sonso ane jamba yangi shell signe jesongaba jamba yangi shell signe jamba yangi menga dende ani number ta ani putupalita gi zebe putupalita ani rabje ani leu ani chukgebadi ani sexual asra e tongi gitawa ani tingsabo nega te ani toy gi chedu dis sexual as ani sungboro 다니 제성 가봐 레 아니 좁게 봐 이식주 잠발라 흐르베 튼삼레 직제 다 아니 이 식주 잠발라 아니 슈 랑싱기 좁에 똥츠디 아니 띵사보데
다들 강한데 찍었어.
Did Josan? Did Sabo, Chiva Sabo, and
아무 뒤버도 샤.
또, then,
다디 코란 디 제롬 제기 보다 빨리다 시야디 잠베양 코란 저틀렌 가르쳐res나 저틀렌 제디 다 또번 유튜브 개와 탑 가르치고 해서 저대로 와. 나도 다 뒤뒤 나와. 가다다 정규쌤 장고 여러 동의자 다와 장고 여러 다 망고시 장고도 좀 두즈 다 밥에 장고 여러와 그다음 두즈나 칼레 장고에 지워들이 렌들 잠벨랑 렌들라 다데 렌들 숨이와 가르 당고데 아니 사장 배쇼스 사장은 내가 배초 조조냐면 제쇼스 조조냐면 제쇼 냠돌라 아니 파이 나와 순남 파이 나와 돈이 검쇼스 이 순대 제쇼스 렌디들
다니 그 쇼라 가르치고
저회치로 냠에 제스
나오더니
쉐라 돈이 미는 말라가 냠도 장로 그냥도 장쇼스 어디 렌디를 잡아야 이거 지리소아 다디네 답지 접제 세디 점제 이남 하고 잡아야 무슨 말에
알아
생각나나 말라지 주지 뭐 세고요 같이 이남다
알아 이 만주시 아니 식소에 식모사
만주시는 게 제가 말 그거나 샘디도 아니 라지 부터벌리다 세고요 봐 그런 이남나 가르쳐서나 단지 장 패니 부터벌리다 그런 남네 아니 라지 저기 두 스타쇼아스 이남나 땅에 아니 이남 땅도 잡아 아니 그런 라지 저기 선이 이남 땅나 이제 선이 라지 저기 고마 14부 로나 또 라지 저기 거들 다 동번이 또 가도 때가 그런 데볼 동번이 또 아주 수불들이 소화들이 좀 써. 인도 그래서 수불이 키우 주나 김난 좋아요. 그래 수불들 마대 주는 마대 좋아요. 어디도 좋아 중간 거는 동반이 되는 거는 쌤나 찾은 시야로 종화를 해서 오면 따왔다 통을 뒤도 당고 이 엄마 따와서 그랬다 예배 뒤도 제일 엄마 따와 예배 뒤도 무슨 이야기 뒤도 모르지 요래서 어디래서 그냥 당고 다 이번 제일 좀
그래서 튼삼을
좀 주변 연매치고로 와.
Listen, tunsamre ani karisa ani berbalita ani zik dudi tunsamre.
괜찮나?
Ale.
괜찮나?
Dene
제외 주로 연매치고.
la. Let me jump into the question and the regarding Buddha Palita and Jetson Kappa's penetrating the view of the middle way through reviewing the 18th chapter. First, let me address this by clarifying that Manjushri, or rather Jetson Kappa, engaged in a discussion with Manjushri quite apart from this, and during a vision of Manjushri, inquired of Manjushri regarding which would be the best method for him, Jetson Kappa, to employ to rapidly develop realization. And his question was after the best moment, how to use a moment in the most advantageous way for the purpose of realization. And Manjushri's answer was to engage energetically in practices of accumulation and purification while maintaining the object of the view of emptiness. This was the dialogue between Manjushri and Jetson Kappa. Now, apart from this, another event caused Jetson Kappa to review the 18th chapter of the Buddha Palita. And that was a dream of his own in which Buddha Palita appeared to him in the dream while he was asleep and touched Jetson Kappa's head with Buddha Palita, the text, and instructed him, the dreaming Jetson Kappa, to look into the 18th chapter. And the next day, following the dream, Jetson Kappa did that, and in so doing, had the experience of the first moment of actual comprehension of the middle way. That was a physical experience of vibrating with realization. And this was the original moment for Jetson Kappa of actual recognition of the view of the middle way. And this was an event that occurred in the period between meditation sessions, as this was an activity of having to do too with the practice of accumulation and purification.
그런 실제로 뒤제 쪽에 냠내지도 탑다 셔럽 송대 지구가 대 나는 탑조 지구가 되게 전쟁을 지도라 어떻게 됐습니다. 유디 송을 해서
아니 수기 숨을했어 기라니
제일
제대로 있었어.
뒤제 냠내지도 제일 다 아니 그런 게 뒤제를 빼땡으로 와 빼땡하고 냠내 또고 줄래 끼야 그런 대가 지금 또고 끼고 그런 보고 마음에 깨 차는 있는 양 뒤제기 냠내 제고 된다라 아니 냠내 야보 용한다 냠내 뿌다고 용한다라 아니 되게 저한테 남 되게 랜디게 되는 마음이 또 송을 해서
In consummate practice of an adept, the method aspect and the wisdom aspect are unified. anywhere where one is made or given priority, for instance, here, wherein through the story of Tsongkhapa's own realization, the method aspect is emphasized as the critical part that was conducive to his realization. Anywhere where one aspect is prioritized, it is prioritized only for the convenience of disciples to be tamed so that they may relate to the path in such a way that they can progress along it. Whereas for the actual individual who is an adept, consummated and unified are wisdom and method. And so for Tsongkhapa himself, by and large, the unification and consummation of the method aspect and the wisdom aspect and the realizations entailed were completed. But for the well-being of disciples to be tamed, such that his story might be a lesson for their own practice, the method aspect was emphasized. He emphasized it in this own account of his progression.
이거는 대 바로 좀 설공이 그 대수시 좀 잘. 아니 저 이거 잘서.
Because at this time, Tsongkhapa had already composed 3 or 4 texts dealing with the view of emptiness. He had already. 아니 동리기 따와니 하르툭바디 따와 하르툭바 또야라 아니 최탐제 랑신기 접에 홍수디 네바 네그로 이는 네바디 네야라 락차라고 치고그로 락차디 페나니 릭바세 딱지 제야세 된소아니 랑신기 접바 드라보 제네 아니 라틀린 타르거레마토 락차 디양 랑싱기 드베 똥바니 인샤샤 제네 아니 똑바 타르투프디 따와 타르투프디 간지스 얘기 제산 제송카바 데두 아니 튼삼라 아니 부터발리다기 아니 제비 아니 슝기 든 띵사만디 또야라 랑싱기 드베 똥수디 간지죠 강랑이 쇼디 코스소
다 돈다도 마부터 코디 비신 마부터 고마 다 돈다도 먼저 싫어님 것들이 쑥 동바오 세도아 쑥 동바오 세도 돈다도 신수는 동바님 돈다 신바레스 지지 지지소 나 마고를 말하니 다 니버들 카르스나타 다 먼저 빼져나가 말 리버 셰당 지거 남지 리버 수수 냠내지도 리버 가가요 오야 다 빼져나가 시도 봐 추기 단지 지단 단지시 단지기 나는 다음에 또 베셔 두 추기 다음에 또 베셔 원리시 가자가 단지 제리시
러러 슝망지어라
중다 그것도 다시 봐
러러 아니 추기 아니 다메디다
추 다음에 시 아무 단지시도 추기 단지 원리시 이런 추기 가자 단지시
러러
아 다음에 시도 잠바 강사 다음에 원리시 가서
맞아요
추기 다음에 제리시
맞아
냠내시도 강사 담보 강사 다음에 공부 강사를 미네 나 가와요래 나 술래 다 뒤에 나한테 가와도 이제는 나한테 다 갈로지는 나한테 매번 이용도 나예 매워지 제한도 다 동반이 된다 삼로 커를 다 그냥 나 민두 선배 동반이는 게 시대스니 다 나한테는 라도다 나 배치는 매번 토도 량도 동반이 된다 또 말아서 제가 그 동반이做我的这些叫让心有出发的让心嘛出发的三路忙过当然让心嘛出发三路当的让心出发三路当的呢不你생겨로让心出发的嘛如果你怎样不你看得这让心嘛出发的需求当中让心出发的需求路让心出发的需求都让心嘛出发自发的需求路了不你考虑呢怎样不你来그래서 어디 뭐도 지금 랑싱을 두번 랑싱 뭐 두번 지마다 랑싱 두번 증거를 하려나 아니 Jamde Jalale trap or singers do.
No,
It is
no.
saw the lessons.
No.
The marathon.
지산데 아니 가래도 그래. 아니 예쁜 예배 림바 유로. 아니 담보데 아니 추기 다음에 이 추기 다음에 디
Marma, Tanzishi, the Tamuchi, Tanzishi.
알았어.
Tanzishi,
Lasa.
Dames, Nikasa.
라라라.
Tanzi Juro.
그것도 라서.
Oh, Tanzi to Chu, Tanzi, Tamu, one shake, she did.
라서.
In a chu, the Kansa Dameshi.
라라.
Tan Yamne,
No.
Dameshi,
라.
Tamu Kansa, Dame Yamne.
라라라.
And digital chu Dame. Dameshi.
라.
The Tamu Sidu Zamba, Kansa. To book Hamazo, to Makawas. Masculine. She was done, and she named that when you say, go to
some concerns may be extraneous, while direct attention to one line in the Prajnaparamita Hridaya Sutra, the Heart Sutra, is sufficiently illustrative of how realization is developed. Form is empty. In such a distillation, the premise for realizing emptiness is present. Other detailed, sophisticated angles one might take can be extraneous or lead one away from the crux. So it might be useful to put this crux this way, to say that when the view of emptiness is presented, it is presented sequentially, beginning with the argument for the emptiness of external phenomena. This is followed by the argument for the emptiness of the self, the personal self. So the emptiness of the self of phenomena is presented first, followed by the emptiness of the personal self. However, in implementation, in praxis, in one's practice of the path, one begins with an analysis of the personal self, analyzing the personal self for its justifiable basis yields nothing but unfindability, the unfindability of the personal self. And when one looks here, where am I? What is the I? Where am I? And the analysis gets underway to find the ostensible self. One comes up empty-handed. In the experience of the absence of the ostensible personal self, one tastes emptiness, one experiences emptiness. And then this may be further increased with practice. Now, when one becomes involved in the bricolage of finding a tool for undermining tools themselves, or inherent existence as employed to elucidate the absence of inherent existence, one will find oneself enmeshed in the very machinations that are involved when we say this person is an enemy and an adversary, and this person is not. It becomes an event with a counterpart and involves one in that process, whereas simple progression through increased experience of emptiness is a more useful alternative. Okay, so that's, we have to conclude here for now.
Yes. Rendo bele zonye ye kadar yamba kashi sabade lome mare je don jovan ye nare geve hongo da Terma sumbe zero kundu jambe yanji seve jesume Tembe remba kuzan namje cho dine rube jena nije cho Rangi chishin tobe lamji ne shura tsewe chave take ki Rove yiji mamba seje ne gewe demba yule zingyuji Temba rinje choje maja ba chabja nyemba gyube jode Inje Chenmo yiro jemba ye pende teze sawara cheba sho Teze jawe mejur chile Chu jambu namje rinde kyong Tadu namje yila pende shin Jawe zeba rinde kyong yuji Lanzan rumbe dujin ruje jin Yegin seje midam nime Zera kundu jave mabayi namda landa java majus. Kanze tiba jala jujuje tujin rula tumba jayeze. Tuden nage tadu roje je taji yazu chungun jayuji.
From my two collections, vast states that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind and wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life, Manjushri. May I find the best of the paths of the complete teachings, and may I please all of those by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I hold with the teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most wretched teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path of enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Dagi chenye sabe nyewa ne dendan jowa ben Kebara chezu lo san rabu tenre nimbo rindu seche cho Kandri rawen korwe jingam dendan dewa malu jungwe Tere sewa tenzen jasuri shabe sede badu tenkyo Yāng bāngu jidāng kēmbā nāng kundu sāmbō tēyāng tēshīn tē Tēdā kuñjē tēsō tālō jē gēwā tēdā tamjē rādō Tūsūng shēmē gēwā tamjē gē mū kānā chūtū pāngā Dāgī jēwē tāwā dēkū yāng sāmbō chējē rādō Tanju Sencho Rinpoche Maki Bana Yeru Chichi Yewa Yamba Meba Yo Kone Lodu
I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Lodong Drapa to shine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Shiv is exhibiting out. Please remain until cyclic existence is ended. just as the Brahma Manjushri and Samantha realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious Laskan three times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva deed. It is the supreme jewel of Bodhisattva that has not arisen, but rise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Well, thank you, everybody, and practice the visualization and supplication of the merit field. Through the petitioning of the merit field, one may develop very quickly the unification of calm abiding and special insight. Usually calm abiding and special insight take considerable time to develop, but through the force of reliance upon petitioning the merit field, one may develop them quickly and as a unified meditative experience. So thank you very much, and practice petitioning the merit field in earnest.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Today was the moment for the petitioning of the merit field. Thank you very much, everybody.